Good morning, friends. I hope you're doing really well. This is Tracy Brown, your somatic dietitian and attuned eating specialist, and I'm here to hopefully give you a little bit of direction today. Not that you need my advice, um, but I have had some people ask me, and I think this is a really normal question. I had all the same questions too when I first started as a nutrition therapist, and I want to remind you all. I mean, I know the experienced, seasoned folks in here, like, of course, that's what we are. But I think sometimes coaches and dietitians um, kind of forget that you're actually a nutrition therapist. So we're going to be taking information and using that, but we don't always use the information right off the bat. And I think that's sometimes where we get a little bit overwhelmed. So you'll do this big long assessment of a person's weight and food history and their past and current experiences, good and bad, with food, with being a human with a body, experience with relationships with food and body, experience with healthcare practitioners, all the things that have been helpful and not helpful. And so what I see happen sometimes, and I've talked about this in many videos, how the structure of my first session, I've talked about this, again, like I said, three or four different videos here in this group, is pretty simple. You know, I get a history, I get a sense of what their current food intake is like, and some people have opinions about if it's good or bad, and they'll tell me those. And then it's, you know, me making a decision. Okay, does this person need some containment with their food? Are things super chaotic? Are they not eating enough? Or are they able to kind of just to start to ease right in with attuned eating, some skills and practice? And we do things differently with each person, of course, right? So some people were assessing if journaling is going to be too triggering. Some people that actually provides another sense of containment, of not feeling out of control and getting lots of good information and material, you know, for the next session. We're making those assessments, of course, that first session. And then I think a lot of people get really tripped up, like, well, what do I talk about the second one? And the third one, and the fourth one, and the sixth one. Firstly, I want to remind you that we are always kind of selling. We are always kind of selling, maybe not in the latter sessions, but, and when I say selling, I don't mean like trying to get people to do something, to do more sessions. It's providing faith, or at least maybe hope, that like what they're struggling with now, there is a way that we can get to freedom with that. And here are some things we're going to need to do, the in-between steps. And so those are things like, maybe a lot of you, you work through intuitive eating principles. I mostly just kind of show up each session with like all the things in the back of my mind they've told me. And so I see the themes, I see the attachment issues, I see what's happening in the nervous system, I see what's happening like with their goals. And if their goals, you know, like say they want to have more confidence, you know, they're going to be reaching for thinness as a solution to get more confidence. I'm going to help them try to see places in their life where they can build confidence with their improved connection with hunger and fullness, with their improved ability to connect with people because they're not so food obsessed. You know, so you're thinking about at this whole time, and I'll get to like restrictive eating and deprivation driven eating versus emotional eating in a second. So I'm always kind of building this case of places where they are already doing really well, they're competent, and how to continue to work towards leaning towards goals and values through experiments with food, through challenging their thinking about what they think other people think. You know, just really kind of working on those things all the time and painting the picture of like, how come that's important and what they get from that. The other part is people ask me, okay, so I know this person's restrictive. I'm going to work on more, you know, just a little bit more conscious adding, and, you know, in whatever way you all do that. I mean, I have in non-diet counseling because I have a whole module about like 5, you know, I think 4 different ways I do food, improving like food in terms of like the, not so much nutrient quality, but that might be part of it, but really about making sure they're getting enough so accurate signals are in place, and getting that going pretty quickly, because a lot of people I've worked with lots of people who work with other people, and it's like they never really got to this place of enoughness to fully understand the separation between physical hunger and fullness and emotional hunger and fullness. So we want to really make sure we're doing that. But if you haven't talked about the key study with people, that needs to be done in the first couple sessions. If you, this is something that feels really important. If, you know, and they're going to have questions about fears about weight gain, and those things need to be addressed pretty quickly. So start unpacking that within, you know, probably the first, second, third session, if not even a little bit in the first. Sometimes you don't have time for that, but, you know, really just be thinking about, like, you know what their beliefs are about their, you know, unpacking their beliefs are on food and weight and worth, food and weight and belonging, food and weight and managing stress. And those give you your fieldwork assignments. So you're really just, in those second and third and beyond sessions, helping them have some early wins, helping them have some stability with their eating really quickly. And then you're kind of breaking down, like, well, who says, and then what would happen. And if they're, some of my current, you know, supervisees are like, okay, deprivation-driven eating and restrictive eating seems easier for me. I'm just giving an example. But what about emotional eating? And it's the same thing. You know, review their days of food and where things are starting to feel like there's a shift between I'm present and I know what's happening in here, and then shifting to where something else is going on, and then you address that immediately. Whether you're decoding, I feel fat, or I feel like I can't stop, or they're really feeling attached to certain behaviors around the emotional eating, or just a certain time of day. Those are the things you're going to want to talk about. So there's not, I mean, that's the way I do things. I know some people kind of work through the principles, and that can get you where you need to go too. I just tend to kind of show up with the client in the session, what's happening, and you can use those principles with whatever struggle they're having, but I don't have it so like, you know, principle 1 through 10 that I'm working through with people. It's really more about, Tracy, I really was doing pretty good, but then Thursday happened. Like, what happened Thursday? And that might be the whole session. And it's beautiful because it's very organic, but I still always in the back of my mind have this direction that I'm helping, like almost locking arms with them and guiding them through the muck with and through. And so that's what I want you all to be thinking about, is sometimes we really want, like, Tracy, tell me what to say for session 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And there are definitely some things that we need to do to help build a strong foundation. So that's really understanding their meal patterns, their beliefs around food, their beliefs around body. We need to really understand that so we know how to quickly jump into, like, that pretty quickly. But for the most part, we're going through, like, their lived experience with their food, their lived experience with their bodies, and what they feel like they need some relief with. And so that's just kind of a way to go with it. And the tools will come. The tools will come. And again, I know I talked about last week, like, where do I get my fieldwork experiments? It's because of my clients. It's not that we don't use ACT experiments. I mean, again, if you're wanting some really, like, structured things, I have a lot of that videoed and written down in worksheets and stuff like that for clients in my course. But those things came from my clients' lived experience. And so if you don't want to reinvent the wheel, you know, you can get the course, you can just self-study, do it with me live, whatever you prefer. Or just when your clients are saying what they're struggling with, lean in and provide some containment for that and really help them feel heard and seen around that. Versus if they're having a lot of emotion, don't necessarily go back to giving a lot of instruction about intuitive eating, because I think that might kind of miss the mark on some level. So anyway, if you all have any things you want to add to that, I want to, this group is really just not about me yakking and telling you what to do or giving you advice or suggestions. I'm happy to share a lot of my experience. But I'd love to hear from you. What are some things that you feel like are really important in those first, let's say, I would say 3 to 4 sessions are really pretty critical, because I don't typically see people make bigger shifts or like something that they can really perceive until about session 5 or 6. I mean, that's not always true. Sometimes by the second, third session, they're feeling some good relief already. But for things to start to feel like, okay, I see why we're doing what we're doing here. session 5 and 6. And you want to make sure in those first 3 to 4 that you're building their hope and they're having some little early wins of like, oh, okay, like I'm not sure, like I don't feel great yet, and I feel a little bit like a spinning top, but I feel like there's some ground underneath me. You want to make sure they have that so they keep their faith to stick with you. Even the ones that say they understand it's a process, you still really want to help them feel like they're going to be getting somewhere. So I hope this was helpful. I'd love to hear your comments and see your comments below, and I will be happy to go back and forth with you. And so next week we're going to be talking, I want to get into a little bit more specifics around, some of your concerns. So I really need your support here to because I did a survey, I think earlier this summer, about what are your main concerns. And when I did that survey, people told me 2 things, which was how to get deeper with your counseling skills. But that wasn't super specific. So I want to hear more from you. Where are you feeling stuck? Because the more specific you get, the deeper and nuanced I can go. And then the other part was, how do I kind of have enough clients to do the kind of training to support my life more in the way I want to? And so if you have any specifics around what you are doing that doesn't seem like it's working or not working, please share that as well. I mean, I'm not really here to be holding back on you, that kind of thing. So, but I don't want to also be talking and it's not something you're interested in. So any insights that you have about this is really working great for me, y'all, you should try this, or I get to this place in the work and I get a little stuck and I feel like I loop with clients. If you're looping, let's say in the same issue, probably means this is a defensive strategy here for them, not consciously, but there's a piece and then it's like, can't go there, not going there yet, can't let go. And it's not, I don't call that resistance, I call that self-protection, and we need to help them feel safe. So that's just one example. If you're looping, you're going to need some support of what is it that this defensive strategy is trying to tell me, and we need to learn to lean into that. So I will talk to you all real soon, and we're going to go into more of those kind of topics next week. And the more specific you can get with me, the more I can help you. So thank you all so much for coming live and watching. I so appreciate you. If you know other colleagues who would think I think this group might be beneficial, then please let them know. And everybody who came live, thank you. If you just hopped on like April did, I'm so sorry I got to hop off now, but we'll talk real soon, okay? Next week. Take care.